I'll save and download this one. And then we'll create some discourse. All right, sweet. All right, that concludes the stream, everybody. Just so that we're going through it. 686M number 1. Close 2 and 3 is Cody and Player-1. 4th place is Hoenn. Gunnermaniac in 5th. In a close 6th and 7th, you have Bike and Mikeray. In a close 8 and 9, Kyoz and ChaseTheLux. And then rounding out 10 through 12, you have Gardex, Chia, and Vex, with honorable mentions and needs more results for Ripplepuff, Dabuz, and Big D. Huzzah! All right, thanks, Hunter. It's fun as always. Next time we'll do the roll set video review, because there's some interesting things that they brought up that I think that you'd be more inclined to agree with, that I'm less inclined to agree with, and I think it'd be an interesting discussion. So let's do that next. Your mic might have died if you're talking.
Hello?
Yep, you're back.
One fourth the stream. I watched the. I only watched the little Brawl segment that they had. I didn't watch like the whole thing. I don't know if you were.
Well, I watched the whole thing. Yeah, we can talk about it. We'll talk about that next time.
So I guess I feel like are you going to upload this to YouTube?
Yeah, I'll put it on YouTube.
I feel like if anyone watching, I feel like most like the vast majority of it was just collecting the wins and losses type of thing.
Yeah.
And then the last like 20 minutes or whatever it was, 20, 30 minutes where the actual discussions were.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to go through. I'll try to go through and edit out like just the collecting of wins and stuff, and stuff. Or maybe I'll just put it on there because I'm not like
I mean, you could just say like skip to the end if you only care about like the actual rankings, not collecting everyone's results.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go through the trouble of just editing it.
Well, I mean, hold on. Why don't we just do like a quick? We'll do a quick summary wrap up like we were talking about. For right now, that so I just wrote off everything, and rather than just waste everyone's time and having them go through 2 hours of it, talking about it. 686M was the clear winner. Just from a resume standpoint, they beat everybody but Bike coming through, and they did it the hard way. Pretty much, not a perfect resume, but like broadly, it's pretty unimpeachable. Number 1. We were talking about this earlier. Number 2 and number 3 between Cody and Player-1. It's I think, and you can chime in whatever you want on it. I just think that there was a debate between the 2 through 4 players, Cody, Hoenn, and Player-1, being comparable to each other. But as soon as we started stacking up the wins and losses, it was a definite. It seemed like a very clear front runner, not front runner, but at least it seemed like Hoenn's wins stood out as being lesser than compared to Cody's or Player-1's win list. And that's not just purely on volume, but even just like the quality of wins that are being put on the board against what would eventually become the rest of the top 10.
Right. No, I think all of that's pretty fair.
Yeah. So it's not just Player-1 saying that he's the best. It's Lux saying Player-1 is actually the best.
Without going into a super detail, which you can listen back to our previous discussion on.
Yeah. And then Hoenn being number 4 above Gunnermaniac. That one's actually closer than I thought it would end up being, just because of the number of wins. But I think Hoenn's ability to beat like the upper echelon of players, like you're talking about, specifically Cody, is definitely something that's important to consider. I think that broadly, if Gunnermaniac could show that he could win against that range of player, then he's he's right in there. But it actually ended up being a lot closer than I thought it would be between the two of them.
Right. Actually, just to kind of go back for 1 second, I think like if you include, I guess Apex, I think it was, where which was last year, which is why it's not on here, where Hoenn beat 6, then that would kind of show that he can beat even more people on here. But yeah, he's played 6 3 times this season, hasn't gotten a win to kind of repeat that, I guess.
Right. Then the next tier was Bike and Mikeray, which was again another pretty interesting one. Bike notably has the 686M win, which is massive, and then he has wins on other top players, including myself, and then the Player-1 Bowser. There's some uh, it's not immediately clear how high we should rank Player-1's Bowser per se. It's definitely shown to be a top 32 threat, but it's not the number 3 player in the world, unfortunately. Even though Bowser is the number 2 character in the game for sure. Bowser is pretty broken. But then Mike Ray's win loss, was not as high as Bike's, just similar to that volume discussion that we were having overall. So. But he does have the win on the head-to-head with Bike, so that also factoring into it. So I think putting them pretty close to each other is pretty reasonable. Might have lost you if you're talking, Hunter.
Oh no, I'm not talking. Okay. I agree with all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Coming into the next tier, Kyoz and Lux. Kyoz has, I think, this is what we were talking about in terms of how much value we should put to some of the older players. Because if you look at my particular resume, a lot of my wins are these people in this honorable mention that could be they could be pretty much anywhere on this ranking. Like with Ripplepuff, could be potentially above Chia on the ranking, right? As being somebody. Dabuz was ranked 5 last year, but unfortunately they just haven't put up the results to really merit that much discussion yet for their ranking this year, as opposed to Kyoz, who's been also going to tournaments, has wins on like Mikeray and some of the other more established threats, and Vex is another pretty big win. So, but overall, just like strength of from volume, they're pretty close to each other. I think Kyoz would agree that we're pretty close to each other in terms of skill level. So.
Right, and just to kind of go off of what you just said, like when you said older players,
Yeah,
like we mean like the last ranking older players, people that
right.
were on the last ranking, and not like people that were played in 2013 and now are coming back. But
Right.
I guess that's Big D's kind of that, I guess. But for the most part, yeah, the last ranking.
For sure. And then rounding out the next tier, Gardex, Chia, and Vex. And I think Gardex probably might even have belonged in a. I don't know. Actually, no, it's pretty close because you have Gardex with a pretty strong resume. I put Gardex twice. Who did Gardex play? That I shouldn't have put Gardex there. That makes no sense. He didn't beat himself. Hold on. I did that a couple times. Sorry, brain melting in the in data world. Let's check Brawl standings. Take like 10 seconds to find this. Assuming Star GG is cooperating. Or he could have. Wait, no, it's yeah, because Gardex came in 17th, which is not a amazing showing. Fishbait. Did I put Fishbait in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gardex's kind of main thing that he has on here is the me and you win.
Yeah. And we were definitely, I guess, I contend that my Zero Suit on certain specific matchups and stages is better than my Ice Climbers, but on the Smash Con rules, that is definitely secondary tier in terms of strength. But it is what it is. Um, but yeah, I think Gardex has some pretty strong wins. But then even Chia has the Kyoz win, which was big. And then Vex also has the Kyoz wins, but they're trading sets back and forth. Uh, so and a Hinkage win too. So it's tough. I put Mario 28 twice here. Get rid of that. And that rounds out like the top 12. And then we were talking about Ripple. I think Ripple's the biggest wild card in it, just because they had the one tournament, and then they decided that losing to Lux twice is so unbearable that they were not going to play anymore. I shouldn't have put it that way, but it's kind of funny. But having a win on Chia and having been previously ranked, Ripple could go up or down quite a bit. I'm not sure where they would end up. They're going to the big house, so I guess whether they end up being ranked or not is going to depend on how well they do at the big house, but also that, but it might also even positively or negatively impact my ranking over Kyoz, I would think, just because of my Ripplepuff win might look a lot better if Ripple does really well at the at the big house or something like that, or it might not, depending on how Ripplepuff does. So I am rooting for Ripplepuff to win the tournament, so that way I can say I'm the big house champion.
I'm rooting for wait, who else going to Big House?
Are you going? Did you find housing?
No, I don't.
So you're not
Yeah,
going?
I've not found. I don't think so. I mean, it's not looking like it.
Man, I gotta talk to Chia. Chia's not responded to anything because Chia
No,
lives
I
there.
talked to her.
Oh, okay. So
She
no.
said she wouldn't be able to. She'd be too busy.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
Lame.
I
All right.
just I just needed housing for Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mostly. Um, Grunion said that he could. I could stay with him Friday night, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's leaving Saturday night, so and
Right.
I would expect to have to stay longer.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But and then Dabuz and Big D. I don't think they're gonna end up playing in another tournament just based off talking to them. But maybe I'll see if I don't know if Big D is going to the big house. I don't know if he travels all that much, especially across country. So it might just be
Mm-hmm.
kind of falling off. I don't know if there's anyone else on the list that, like, if they did a really if they put in some big wins at the big house, they would they can make it onto the list. Because I don't know who else is deciding to travel. I think Xenon has an outside shot of putting up some wins just because of his previous ranking on the list, and I know he's going. Um, Cody could, I think Cody's going, and if he wins or loses, he could increase or decrease his. It might be a situation where if he wins a whole bunch, it'd separate you two, or he could lose, like in flame out, and then all of a sudden he's below you. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be tough to see. So
Isn't it a big question mark if Hoenn is entering or not?
it is a big question if Hoenn's entering or not.
That's what I think I've seen in the chat. So
Yeah,
I feel like Cody kind of stands the most to gain from this ranking wise.
yeah,
If Hoenn enters and he can show that he can beat Hoenn, since Hoenn is undefeated against him this
right,
year, and then Hoenn would just want to solidify, hey, I can beat Cody even more, I
right.
guess. Uh, Ripple is just trying to probably just get any win on anyone on this list, I would guess, just to kind of solidify them as uh like they could be on this list, not just an honorable mention.
Yeah,
And then is that everyone? I guess.
Gunner's probably gonna. I would think Gunner would go, right, because Gunner's in
I
that
don't.
area.
Is he?
I
I
think
don't know.
he lives in Michigan, so it's not too far out.
Okay. I
I
mean,
don't know if
yeah,
he will
that is,
go,
it is
but
Michigan. So
yeah, that's a potential option too. So we'll see. But yeah, all right. That's the top rankings that we have so far. For PR for this season. That's kind of what we're looking at. If you have if you agree with the list, go ahead and let Player-1 know. If you disagree, let me know. I'll talk to you about it, and we'll set the record straight. But thanks
if you
everybody for
disagree
tuning
with
in.
anything on this, it's all Lux's fault.
Yeah, this is true. This is the official player rank, though. There's gonna one. There might be one that comes out later that they say is like the actual player rank, but this one's the most official because we called it that. So, all right, everybody, signing off. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.